Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you an Empties video. I haven't done an Empties video for about 2 months now, and I don't tend to do them on a very regular basis these days, but I have a lot of products here, so I figured I would just sit down and share these with you now. And yeah, maybe I'll have another Empties video for you guys in 2 months, maybe 3 months, depending on how much I manage to accumulate. But recently I've been really trying to go through a lot of my, especially like old skincare products, and trying to make really good progress on them and get some of them used up and out of my collection, because I have so much skincare, like far too much for my one little pea head. So I do want to work my way through quite a lot of my skincare. So actually, why don't we just start with that category, since a lot of these things are things that were like the last ofs that I had to finish up. This one's by First Aid Beauty. This is the Coconut Micellar Makeup Melter. It was not very good at removing makeup. I've heard a lot of people say that this is not a good product, and I've seen some people declutter this. However, I figured out a way to make it work for me, which I'm glad about, because I didn't want to just give this to somebody in my life. It was not very good. So what I ended up doing with it is I would do a couple pumps in my hands, run it through in between my hands to kind of like melt it a little bit, and then I would work it all over my face, really work it into like around my nose and up in the forehead where my lines are, and really try to work it into my makeup. And instead of just like filling my hands with water and splashing it over the sink, I would actually like drench a microfiber cloth and wring it out so that it had like really hot water, but it was fully saturated, and then I would remove it that way. And I've been doing that actually with my other makeup removing kind of like oils and balms, because that actually feels like it really pulls everything off, and it's far less messy. I feel like I don't get a lot of product in my eyes that way, and it just is so easy. So that was the only way that I could really figure out how to make this work for me, because otherwise it just like repelled the water on my face. The water would not break this product down, and it wouldn't break down my makeup properly. So yeah, if you have this and you're struggling to use it, or if you have any sort of like makeup removing oil or balm that you're struggling to use, I recommend giving it a try with a microfiber cloth to actually pull it off the skin. It is a little bit more tedious, but it feels so much more like deep cleaning and thorough, and it doesn't leave any sort of residue on the skin. So yeah, definitely recommend trying it in that way. I did not enjoy it enough to even consider repurchasing it. However, I also don't believe that I will be purchasing from First Aid Beauty for the foreseeable future. Next up is this Pixie Glow Tonic. This is the second or third of these that I've been through actually, and I'm currently using a Derma E version of a glycolic toner, so I'm gonna try to put that one to the test. But I did really enjoy this one. I do find that it helps to keep my skin very smooth and balanced feeling, and it's never like anything too intense on my skin either, but it is really effective at just making my skin stay nice and balanced and smooth and very like even looking too, especially because I get really severe acne scarring. Like I can have a zit and it can be gone in 2 days, but it will be a purple spot for 4 weeks after that. So this really helps to lift that and to minimize the look of those scars, that hyperpigmentation, and I really do enjoy this product. Definitely would recommend and consider purchasing in the future. Another toning kind of product that I finished up is this Thayer's Witch Hazel. This is the cucumber version, and I used this in the mornings because I don't wash my face in the morning. I just rinse my face with water and then like blot off the water with a clean washcloth. And then some days if I felt like my skin was still a little bit like oily, or my skin just looked a little lackluster, I would go in with this and then put on my moisturizer and sunscreen after that. And it was good. It just helped to make my skin feel very clean and very balanced and just like prepped for a proper skincare routine. There was nothing like fussy about this. I really did enjoy this. Ever since I finished this up, I don't feel like I've been missing it, but I did enjoy it, and I did think it was a really good product, especially for that kind of instance. I'm kind of indifferent to it at this point. Having not used it for probably about 3 weeks, I don't feel like I'm missing it. I also recently finished up this Live Clean. This is the 24-hour hydrating day cream. As you can see, I cut into it, not because I loved it, just because I've like become compulsive about having to use every last bit of product in these kinds of things, but it was okay. I bought this when I was on Epirus, which was my acne medication, and it wasn't quite nourishing for my skin at that time, but now that my skin has evened out a little bit more and is more normal, this was okay. I did use it just underneath of makeup and it did the trick well, but it wasn't something that I'm gonna run out and purchase again. I initially wanted something much more rich than this was, and so it just was like, okay, I need to use it just because I have it. And I feel like the Live Clean product was very comparable to this. This is the Kapari Coconut Face Cream. Now this, I feel like sunk into my skin a little bit better. The Live Clean, I did feel like it left a little bit of like a filmy kind of finish on the skin, but I loved using this underneath of makeup. I felt like this was very hydrating without being like oily or heavy. But Kapari face cream, it is a little bit pricey. It's not really something I want to invest in at the moment, especially considering I'm trying to work my way through a lot of my skincare that I have like backups of. So for the time being, I wouldn't consider purchasing this, but this is something that long-term I would consider purchasing, especially because my boyfriend Patrick actually really enjoys using this as well, and it's really effective on his skin. So it's something that we would both get really good use out of, so the price point would definitely be justified. I'm sure we'd go through it a little bit quicker, but it is something that's effective for both of us. And then the last skincare item I have here is the Derma E Sorzema, why am I even trying? Sorzema cream? I think this is for psoriasis or eczema, and I did purchase this again when I was on Epuris, so like I have been just holding on to all of these products for quite some time, but I didn't end up liking this on my face when I was on Epuris. I didn't really like it on my body. I didn't find it like nourishing enough, but I ended up just sticking it in the back of my cupboard, and recently I kind of pulled it back out and realized I needed to use it up eventually. And I've just been keeping it on my bedside table and using it as a hand cream before I went to bed just to get it used up. And yeah, it was decent for that. Now that my skin is normal, I don't find that my skin is too dry anywhere on my face or on my hands or anything like that. It just did the trick because I always like to climb in bed and have that routine of like putting on lip cream, oh my gosh, I've never called it that before. Putting on lip balm and then putting on some sort of hand cream after that, and then just getting underneath the sheets. That's like my bedtime ritual. Doesn't matter if my lips even feel dry or my hands feel dry, I just have to do it every single night. So this definitely fit the bill, and it was a good way to get it used up and out of my collection. I used up every last drop of it, and you cannot tell at all, can you? I have a couple body related products. This one is looking really rough. This is the Volition Turmeric Brightening Polish for face and body. I did not use this on my face. I use this exclusively on my body just because I had this like deluxe size sample kicking around, so I figured I'd get use out of it, but it isn't really something that I have any desire to purchase in the future. But yeah, it was nice. It was really like very rich feeling kind of scrub without feeling like heavy or like it was too abrasive. It was nice for that feeling, and it didn't leave like a super oily kind of finish behind. It just felt very balanced and very like even. I don't know why I want to use the word even. Like it didn't feel overly hydrated, but my skin definitely didn't feel stripped or parched. It just felt neutral. And the one thing about this, I'm hoping it's just the case for the mini, is the lid actually is a little bit too wide for the like actual packaging of the tube. So when I had this in my shower, I kept it in my little shower caddy thing that like hangs off of the shower head, and the water would always pool into here, and it kind of diluted the product and it kind of compromised the product a little bit after a while. So that is a concern for me, and it made it not as enjoyable to use because I would like reach for this and it would be full of like cold, wet water right in the cap, and I'd open it up and it would all just spew everywhere. It's a small thing, but it was definitely part of the experience with it, and it wasn't ideal. I also finished up a Lush Sleepy Body Lotion. This is just like heaven. This scent is the best thing ever. I have to smell it right now, and I know it's so annoying when people smell things on camera and you can't experience it yourself, but it is lavender and tonka, and it has this like perfect balance of like the floral lavender, that very like calming lavender, but then it also smells kind of masculine with the tonka, and it's just so heavenly. It smells like a freaking cloud. I don't know how else to describe it. It smells so good, and I don't have this in my collection at the moment, or like in my life at the moment, and I definitely will pick it up in the future, but for the time being, I'm not gonna pick it up even though I absolutely adore like just covering my hands and arms in this before I go to bed, because like I said, the part of my bedtime ritual where I cover myself in lotion, it just is enhanced with this scent. It just is so, so good. Ugh, I do miss it, and seeing this bottle again back in my life, like it has been away, stored away for a couple weeks now. Seeing it back in front of me is like, oh my gosh, I need it. I kind of want to order it, but I'm gonna hold off because I do have another lotion that I'm working on. I'm really trying to be so much more considerate about what I have in my life. So in the future, I would definitely consider picking this up again. I know it will be in my life eventually, but I'm gonna hold off for now. And one other like fragrance body item is this Pacifica Aroma Power Mind Control body spray, I guess. It has these little crystals in the bottom. I don't know if you'll be able to see from there at all, but it has these little like crystals in the bottom. I don't remember anything about what this fragrance was supposed to be or what these stones were or anything, because I tossed the box long ago when I got this product, and it was nice. It was like kind of citrusy. I honestly am the worst at describing scents. It was like a little bit of like a warm citrus kind of scent, and I did enjoy it, but the sprayer was just totally bunk on this. It went pretty early on, so I ended up actually decanting this product in its entirety into a Smashbox primer water bottle, like the mini one, and I used it in that, and it just kind of like took away from the experience of using it. And this is something I don't really think that I would recommend because there was a faulty sprayer on it, but two, I didn't find that the scent really lingered all that well. It was a nice fragrance, but I'm just so indifferent about it, so I don't recommend it. I'm not gonna repurchase it. I'm not gonna actually even consider purchasing it in the future. And I've recently finished up some nail polishes, Lash, they're kind of like drying out. The first one is by Marc Jacobs. I've had this in my life for like 3 or 4 years, so I've used it quite a lot. This is the shade Secret Love in the Enamoured High Shine Lacquer. It's like an eggplant kind of color. This was such a beautiful, elegant, deep purple shade that like could look very like elegant and rich, but it could also look very punk. I really like that about it. That's definitely my style for sure, and I really, really enjoyed this. And it felt so luxurious pulling out this bottle and painting my nails with it. One nice thing about it too is that this cap actually comes off and you have like a normal nail polish lid, but now it's just gotten too thick and too goopy and I can't use it. Now, I haven't been throwing out any of my nail polishes. I've actually been holding on to all of my nail polish empties from this year, and I just have them set aside. I'm just storing them, trying to figure out what to do with them. Do you guys have any recommendations? Do you know how I'm supposed to actually get rid of nail polishes? I do know that Zoya Nail Polish does a nail polish exchange at around Earth Day, so I don't know if I can do that when it's products that are basically used up, that are thick and goopy. Let me know if that's something that I can participate in with this. But yeah, for the time being, if you have any other recommendations of how I can actually properly dispose of my nail polish, I'd love to hear from you guys what you know, what you've learned. The other nail polish that I don't know what to do with is this KL polish in the shade Mindy. This is a beautiful like berry shade. I loved this so much, and I know it's kind of out of season, but I actually really enjoyed using this in the spring and summer, and I really did like it. I love dark nails. Like I do really enjoy dark matte nails, and this was kind of like a lighter version of a deep nail, and I really did enjoy it. I have not yet tried Lights Lacquer, but I really do enjoy the Kale polish formula. It's so unfortunate that it's no longer available, but I totally understand what happened with the brand. So yeah, I would definitely be interested in trying Lights Lacquer, trying some shades from the line, but I recently purchased some nail polishes. I purchased 6 new polishes from Triple O Polish, which I'm wearing 2 of the shades on my nails right now. And I've just been having so much fun playing with those. And then I've also been doing my eyeshadow as nail polish technique a lot recently too, so I don't really feel any need to bring any new nail polishes into my life. I also finished up one of my Avalon Organics Clarifying Lemon Shampoos. This is my tried and true. It works so well for me. I have fine hair. My hair gets very oily very fast, and it's very irritated almost instantly after washing my hair with almost any other shampoo. So this is just the best. It just keeps my scalp feeling very balanced, very calm. This is the Brioche Scalp Revival Charcoal and Coconut Oil Micro Exfoliating Shampoo. This is, yes, a shampoo product, but I do think of it more like a treatment because it is very menthol-y. It's like a very sweet coconut mint kind of scent to it. And I do think this could easily irritate your scalp if you used it often. I used it maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, and this tub, although expensive, it did last me just about a year, maybe just a little bit more than a year actually. And I really enjoyed using it. Every single time that I used it, it gives me this like really refreshing kind of feeling on my scalp. It's like when you eat, like when you pop in a it's kind of like when you have like those like Arctic mint kind of gums and you go out into the cold air and you like take a breath in. It feels like that on your scalp, and it's so refreshing and it's so like invigorating. I loved it. I know it's not for everyone, but I felt like this was really good at making my scalp just kind of feel a little bit like reset, refreshed, clarified, and I just really enjoyed it. I do think I will eventually pick this up again. I'm gonna see how the next like couple months go without it, see if it's something that I feel like I want to bring back into my life. It's something I definitely would consider bringing back into my life, but we're gonna see. Maybe my Avalon Organics one will be totally sufficient, and this was just something that I really enjoyed the experience of, not really the effects of. I don't know. I really don't know, but I really do love it, and I definitely enjoyed the experience, and I do recommend it if you like that like menthol kind of feeling and you like that really like fresh feeling. It was so good. I just realized that I talked about everything except makeup, and usually I talk about makeup first, but this is kind of different. This is kind of interesting. So let's talk about some makeup empties now. The first one is just a little sample. This is the Tatcha The Silk Canvas. This was a primer mini. I picked this out in my Shop My Stash. I wanted to get some use out of it because I do consider this one primer for my makeup inventory, which I will be updating in November because I did it last year in November, so I'm gonna update it this November. But in any case, I got 4 uses out of this little pack. It only has 0.5 grams of product in it, and it was really nice. I really did enjoy it the 4 times that I used it. I felt like it made my skin look very nice and smooth, really even, and my makeup wore very well on it as well. However, I've only really used tinted moisturizers on top of it. I didn't use any like full coverage foundations because it's just not what I've been vibing with recently. So I used it exclusively with tinted moisturizers and it looked great every single time. However, I am working on my Urban Decay Optical Illusion at the moment in my 20 favorites in 2020 project pan, and it kind of functions the same way. So I don't feel like I'm missing this in my routine, nor do I feel like I'm gonna go out and buy it, but I did enjoy it. And another priming product that I recently finished up is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer. This is the matte version. I finished this in my Graveyard Project pan actually almost 2 full months ago, and it was not a favorite of mine. It was like a just okay priming kind of product. However, I did really come to enjoy it at the end when I mixed it with tinted moisturizers to give them a less dewy look and to sheer them out a little bit more to make them more like skin tints. And I really did enjoy using it in that way. However, this is like one of the very few products I did not cut into because I just didn't love it that much. I have other mattifying products. I have other primers, so many other primers in my life that I just didn't feel it necessary to. And then one other priming product as well, which I didn't really tend to use as a primer, is the Smashbox Primer Water. I use this mostly as like a refreshing kind of spray throughout the day if my skin was feeling a little bit tight or a little bit irritated, or it just felt like it needed a little bit of like a cool, refreshing pick-me-up. I would spray this on my face, and I really did enjoy this. I also used it to intensify my eyeshadows, to foil them, and to just make them have more pigment, and I really enjoyed it for that as well, but I haven't repurchased it. I haven't really been missing it since I finished it up either, because I do have other facial sprays in my collection that tend to do the trick just as well as this one did, but it was good. This was actually the second one of these that I've been through. I had actually previously finished, no, maybe I had finished 2 minis. I think I finished 2 minis in the past, and then I went on to get this one, but now I just don't think it's an essential step for me. I recently finished up 2 brow products, which were both in my 20 favorites in 2020. The first one was the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This was in the shade medium brown. I really enjoy this product. It really was one of my favorites, but I just don't think that brow pencils are essential for me anymore. So I am going to be no longer purchasing this kind of product, which is so funny because I used to like rely on brow pencils specifically, but now I just love brow gel and a little bit of shadow. Today I'm only wearing a little bit of brow gel and I think it's perfect. I don't want a super structured or like dramatic brow. I just want a little bit of definition there and a little bit of hold, and that's all I care about. So yeah, this just is something that I don't deem to be necessary anymore, and the packaging freaking broke on me, and this happened every time I purchased a Brow Wiz. Something about it busted. The spoolie came right off of this one. I've had it before where like the actual product applicator like chipped. I don't know, cheap packaging, cheap plastic, and just so much unnecessary plastic for my life as well. So yeah, not purchasing something like that anymore. And then the Milk Kush Fiber Brow Gel in the shade Dutch, I recently finished as well. I really did enjoy this, but I did say in my 20 favorites in 2020 that I feel like the e.l.f. Wow Brow is very comparable to this, and it is like a very small fraction of the price of this as well. So I'm not even going to bat an eye at looking at purchasing this or even any other high-end brow gels in the future. The the e.l.f. Wow Brow is so good that I think that might just be like my go-to standard from here on out. I also recently finished up a mascara. This is the Covergirl Lash Blast Fusion. This was the water-resistant version, which I purchased before I went on a trip in the end of February to the Dominican Republic. And I'm so fortunate that I got a chance to go on that trip, to be honest. But in any case, I purchased this just so I had something that was water resistant for beach days and whatever, and I didn't love this, but it was decent. It gave me a little bit of volume, a little bit of length. It definitely helped to define my lashes. It made them look, you know, much more apparent, which is the goal with mascara. And yeah, it was just kind of like a standard mascara for me, nothing revolutionary, but also not disappointing like this other one. This was the Lash Warrior by Flower. I've talked about this a couple times now. I was so disappointed in this mascara, and I usually can make any mascara kind of work for me. I don't have the longest lashes by any means, but they're not super short or sparse. I do feel like most mascaras work for me. They may not be the be-all end-all absolute favorite of mine, but they do tend to work for me. This did not work. This formula was very like thin and watery, and I found that it would just kind of barely coat my lashes, and the product would actually like flick onto my lid and onto like my lower lash, like around my eye area just in general, and it would just make my eyes look horrible. Like the product would flick and it would never really seem to set down, and it would like clump my lashes together in this way where I literally looked like I had like 4 or 5 lashes. They were just all so clumped together, and it just wasn't good. It did not vibe with me. I really did not enjoy the experience of using this, and in fact I ended up putting it aside from my collection for like a month, pulled it back out, and it still functioned the exact same. I don't know. We did not get along, and I've heard a lot of people rave about this formula, so I was super excited to try it, but we did not get along, not even a little bit. And another makeup item that I did finish in my 20 favorites in 2020 is not opening. This is the Bite, the lip pencil in the shade 018. You can see there's the tiniest little nub of this left, and I really did enjoy this. This was such a good lip liner to use like underneath of lip glosses or as like my standalone lip product. I really enjoyed it. Every time that I reached for it, I felt like it looked really nice and flattering, and even when I was using it in the winter, I loved it on my complexion. And more recently, when I was using it in the summer, I really liked it on my complexion as well. It was just a good, like my kind of nude shade. However, this formula is no longer available from Bite, which is so unfortunate because this really was a nice creamy lip liner formula. And I really haven't felt any need to pick up any new lip liners for quite some time. So even though I really did enjoy this and I did feel like it was a fun product to get used up, I don't really feel like I'm missing it from my collection or from my routine anymore. So that's a good indicator that I don't really need this kind of product in my life. However, I do have a few other lip liners in my collection. I just haven't really been reaching for them recently. And then the very last empty that I have to share with you guys is this right here. This is by Hourglass. This is the Ambient Lighting Bronzer in the shade Luminous Bronze Light. This is a mini, of course, but I did finish this up recently. There is like literally no product in here. It's a completely empty waffle pan. And I absolutely love this. If I was to do a ranking my bronzers video, which you guys have requested some ranking videos for me, which I will be doing, this would have been at the top, and now it won't be because I don't have it in my life anymore. And although I would definitely consider this to be my favorite, I do have a fair amount of bronzers in my collection. So for the time being, there's no way that this is even in the budget for me to purchase a full size or even another mini. But if I were to work my collection down a little bit more, this is something that I would consider picking up in the future because it works for me summer and winter. It works like so perfectly. It offers this beautiful luminous finish that just doesn't look like any sort of product is on your skin other than just like a golden sheen. It's fabulous. I have heard that the Milani one is very comparable to this, so that is something that I do have my eye on. But like I said, I do have a fair amount of bronzers in my collection, so I don't know if I will pick up a new one soon, but I am definitely interested in picking up some more. Sorry, Patrick called me and now I have no idea really what I was saying about this bronzer, but basically I loved it. I really enjoyed using it, but I do have a fair amount of bronzers at the moment, and although I would consider picking this up in the future, it's not something that I like absolutely have to have in my life anytime soon. So yeah, that is everything. There were a ton of empties. I hope that you guys really enjoyed seeing all of these and hearing all of my thoughts on all of these items. Let me know if you've tried any of these products, what your thoughts on them are, or if you have any recommendations for alternatives now that I've used up some of these. I would be really, really thankful if you decided to subscribe to my channel. That would mean so, so much to me, but that is absolutely everything for today's video. Thank you guys so, so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.